Mobile operating system.
A mobile operating system, also referred to as mobile OS, is an operating system that operates a smartphone, tablet, PDA, or other mobile device. Modern mobile operating systems combine the features of a personal computer operating system with other features, including a touch screen, cellular, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, GPS, mobile navigation, camera, video camera, speech recognition, voice recorder, music player, near-field communication and infrared blaster. Mobile devices with mobile communications capabilities, for example smartphones, contain two mobile operating systems. The main user-facing software platform is supplemented by a second low-level proprietary real-time operating system which operates the radio and other hardware. Research has shown that these low-level systems may contain a range of security vulnerabilities permitting malicious base stations to gain high levels of control over the mobile device.
History.
Mobile operating system milestones mirror the development of mobile phones and smartphones. 1970 to 1979 first mobile phone, smartphone, and cell phone. 1979 to 1992 mobile phones use embedded systems to control operation. 1993 the first smartphone, the IBM Simon, has a touch screen, email and PDA features. 1996 Palm Pilot 1000 personal digital assistant is introduced with the Palm OS mobile operating system. 1996 first Windows CE handheld PC devices are introduced. 1999 Nokia S40 OS is officially introduced along with the Nokia 7110. 2000 Symbian becomes the first modern mobile OS on a smartphone with the launch of the Ericsson A380. 2001 the Kyocera 6035 is the first smartphone with Palm OS. 2002 Microsoft's first Windows CE, Pocket PC, smartphones are introduced. 2002 BlackBerry releases its first smartphone. 2005 Nokia introduces Memo OS on the first Internet tablet N770. 2007 Apple iPhone with iOS is introduced as an iPhone, mobile phone, and Internet communicator. 2007 Open Handset Alliance, OHA, formed by Google, HTC, Sony, Dell, Intel, Motorola, Samsung, LG, etc. 2008 OHA releases Android 1.0 with the HTC Dream, T-Mobile G1, as the first Android phone. 2009 Palm introduces WebOS with the Palm Pre. By 2012 WebOS devices were no longer sold. 2009 Samsung announces the Bata OS with the introduction of the Samsung S8500. 2010 Windows Phone OS phones are released but are not compatible with the previous Windows Mobile OS. 2011 Mago the first mobile Linux, combining Memo and Moblin, is introduced with the Nokia N9, a collaboration of Nokia, Intel and Linux Foundation. In September 2011 Samsung, Intel and the Linux Foundation announced that their efforts will shift from Bada, Mago to Tizen during 2011 and 2012. In October 2011 the MARE project was announced, centered around an ultra-portable Linux plus HTML5/QML JavaScript core for building products with, derived from the Mago codebase. 2012 Mozilla announced in July 2012 that the project previously known as Boot2Gecko was now Firefox OS and had several handset OEMs on board. 2013 Canonical announced Ubuntu Touch, a version of the Linux distribution expressly designed for smartphones. The OS is built on the Android Linux kernel, using Android drivers, but does not use any of the Java-like code of Android. 2013 BlackBerry released their new operating system for smartphones and tablets, BlackBerry 10. 2014 Microsoft released Windows Phone 8.1 in February 2014.
Common software platforms.
The most common mobile operating systems are
Android.
Android is from Google Incorporated. Most of Android is free and open source, but a large amount of software on Android devices, such as Play Store, Google Search, Google Play Services, Google Music, and so on, are proprietary and licensed. Android's releases prior to 2.0, 1.0, 1.5, 1.6 were used exclusively on mobile phones. Android 2X releases were mostly used for mobile phones but also some tablets. Android 3.0 was a tablet-oriented release and does not officially run on mobile phones. The current Android version is 4.4. Android's releases are nicknamed after sweets or dessert items like cupcake, 1.5, donut, 1.6, eclair, 2.0, frozen yogurt, froyo, 2.2, gingerbread, 2.3, honeycomb, 3.0, ice cream sandwich, 4.0, jelly bean, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3 and Kit Kat, 4.4. Most major mobile service providers carry an Android device. Since HTC Dream was introduced, there has been an explosion in the number of devices that carry Android OS. From second quarter of 2009 to the second quarter of 2010, Android's worldwide market share rose 850% from 1.8% to 17.2%. On November 15, 2011, Android reached 52.5% of the global smartphone market share.
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry 10 BlackBerry. It is closed source and proprietary. BlackBerry 10, previously BlackBerry BBX, was the next-generation platform for BlackBerry smartphones and tablets. One OS was planned for both BlackBerry smartphones and tablets going forward.
iOS.
iOS is from Apple Incorporated. It is closed source and proprietary and built on open-source Darwin Core OS. The Apple iPhone, iPod Touch, iPad and second-generation Apple TV all use an operating system called iOS, which is derived from Mac OS X. Native third-party applications were not officially supported until the release of iOS 2.0 on July 11, 2008. Before this, jailbreaking allowed third-party applications to be installed, and this method is still available. Currently all iOS devices are developed by Apple and manufactured by Foxconn or another of Apple's partners.
Windows Phone.
Windows Phone is from Microsoft. It is closed source and proprietary. On February 15, 2010, Microsoft unveiled its next-generation mobile OS, Windows Phone. The new mobile OS includes a completely new overhauled UI inspired by Microsoft's Metro design language. It includes full integration of Microsoft services such as OneDrive and Office, Xbox Music, Xbox Video, Xbox Live Games and Bing, but also integrates with many other non-Microsoft services such as Facebook and Google accounts. Windows Phone devices are made primarily by Nokia, along with HTC, Samsung, Huawei and other OEMs.
Other software platforms. Sailfish OS.
Sailfish OS is from Jolla. It is open source and adopts GPL. After Nokia failed in 2011 with the MeeGo project, most of the MeeGo team have left Nokia, and established Jolla as a company to use MeeGo and MER business opportunities. In 2012 Linux Sailfish OS based on MeeGo and using MER core distribution has been launched for public use. The first device, Jolla, mobile phone, was unveiled on May 20, 2013.
Symbian.
Symbian platform is from Nokia for certain models of their current entry-level smartphones. It is proprietary software. Runs Symbian S60 or S40. The operating system is found running on Nokia's Asha devices.
Tizen.
Tizen is hosted by the Linux Foundation and support from the Limo Foundation, guided by a technical steering group composed of Intel and Samsung. Tizen is an operating system for devices including smartphones, tablets, in-vehicle infotainment, IVI, devices, and smart TVs. It is an open-source system that aims to offer a consistent user experience across devices. Tizen's main components are the Linux kernel and the WebKit runtime. According to Intel, Tizen combines the best of Limo and MeeGo. HTML5 apps are emphasized, with Mago encouraging its members to transition to Tizen, stating that the future belongs to HTML5-based applications, outside of a relatively small percentage of apps, and we are firmly convinced that our investment needs to shift toward HTML5. Tizen will be targeted at a variety of platforms such as handsets, tablets, smart TVs and in-vehicle entertainment. On May 17, 2013, Tizen released version 2.1, codenamed Nectarine.
Ubuntu Touch OS.
Ubuntu Touch OS is from Canonical Limited. It is open source and uses GPL.
Historical software platforms. Limo 4.
Limo 4 is from the Limo Foundation. Limo Foundation launched Limo 4 on February 14, 2011. Limo 4 delivers middleware and application functionality, including a flexible user interface, extended widget libraries, 3D window effects, advanced multimedia, social networking and location-based service frameworks, sensor frameworks, multitasking and multi-touch capabilities. In addition, support for scalable screen resolution and consistent APIs means that the platform can deliver a consistent user experience across multiple device types and form factors.
Memo.
Memo is a platform developed by Nokia for smartphones and Internet tablets. It is open source and GPL, based on Debian GNU Linux and draws much of its GUI, frameworks and libraries from the GNOME project. It uses the Matchbox window manager and the GTK-based Hilden.
Migo.
Mago is from non-profit organization the Linux Foundation. It is open source and GPL. At the 2010 Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, Nokia and Intel both unveiled Mago, a mobile operating system that combined Moblin and Memo to create an open-sourced experience for users across all devices. In 2011 Nokia announced that it would no longer pursue Mago in favor of Windows Phone. Nokia announced the Nokia N9 on June 21, 2011 at the Nokia Connection event in Singapore. LG announced its support for the platform.
Palm OS.
Palm OS Garnet OS was from Access Company. It is closed source and proprietary.
WebOS.
WebOS is from LG, although some parts are open source. WebOS is a proprietary mobile operating system running on the Linux kernel, initially developed by Palm, which launched with the Palm Pre. After being acquired by HP, two phones, the VIA and the Pre 3, and a tablet, the touchpad, running WebOS were introduced in 2011. On August 18, 2011, HP announced that WebOS hardware was to be discontinued but would continue to support and update WebOS software and develop the WebOS ecosystem. HP released WebOS as open source under the name OpenWebOS, and plans to update it with additional features. On February 25, 2013 HP announced the sale of WebOS to LG Electronics, who plan to use the operating system for its smart, or Internet-connected TVs. However, HP retained patents underlying WebOS as well as cloud-based services such as the App Catalog.
Windows Mobile.
Windows Mobile was from Microsoft. It was closed source and proprietary. The Windows CE operating system and Windows Mobile middleware are widely spread in Asia. The two improved variants of this operating system, Windows Mobile 6 Professional, for touchscreen devices, and Windows Mobile 6 Standard, were unveiled in February 2007. It was criticized for having a user interface which is not optimized for touch input by fingers. Instead, it is more usable with a stylus. However, unlike iOS, it supports both touchscreen and physical keyboard configurations. Windows Mobile's market share sharply declined to just 5% in Q2 of 2010. Microsoft phased out the Windows Mobile OS to focus on Windows Phone.
Customer satisfaction.
According to a Reader's Choice Awards survey conducted by PC Magazine in 2013, Android and Windows Phone customers gave their phones a rating of 8.9 on a 0, extremely dissatisfied, to 10, extremely satisfied, scale, an improvement of 0.3 and 0.6 points respectively. Android received an 8.9, one of the highest ratings to date for an operating system, followed by iOS, 7.3. The biggest reasons given by readers when asked why they chose their mobile phones are as follow: operating system, 72% and 4G capability, 51% for Android, quality of email experience, 83% for BlackBerry, availability of apps, 63% for iOS and operating system, 48% for Windows Phone, 81%.
Market share.
In 2006, Android, iOS, Windows Phone and BARDA did not exist and just 64 million smartphones were sold. As of 2011, nearly 10 times as many smartphones were sold annually, and the top mobile operating systems marketed as smartphones by market share were Android, Symbian, Apple iOS, BlackBerry, Mago, Windows Phone and BARDA. Note that these statistics only include operating systems marketed as smartphones. For example, they don't include Nokia's S40 operating system, which according to Nokia's announcement on January 25, 2012, has sold over 1.5 billion S40 devices.
Outlook.
IDC predicted high Android market share at the expense of other platforms in year 2012, but that from year 2013 to 2016, iOS and Android would stop gaining market share, while Windows Phone would rise to third place. A similar trend was also predicted by G-Times Research. A more recent study by Canalys predicted that in 2017 Android market share would slightly decline, iOS would decline more, and Windows Phone would grow but not catch up with iOS. IDC predicts that Windows Phone will not reach double-digit market share until 2017.
Mobile Internet traffic share.
As of November 2013, mobile data usage showed 55.17% of mobile data traffic to be from iOS, 33.89% from Android, 4.49% from Java ME, Nokia S40, 4.12% from Symbian, 1.65% from Windows Phone and 1% from BlackBerry. Internet Explorer Mobile can be switched to desktop view by users, which identifies devices as Internet Explorer 9.0 on Windows 7, causing case mobile usage to be excluded in these statistics.